it's Pete here, and today I wanted to talk about how to teach bridge to kids. So what I want to cover is what you actually need to get started, tips on introducing them to card play, and then also to bidding, some resources that are useful if they get excited and want to progress further in their learning, and some general card play tips that will help them take more tricks. Anyway, to get started, all you actually need is a regular pack of playing cards. There's with spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs, and we've got ace through to 2 with ace, king, queen, jack, 10 through to 2 in that order, with ace being the highest and 2 being the lowest. The other thing that you'll need is some kids. Here's one I prepared earlier. So basically, he's a little bit too young, but I'd recommend it for sort of 6 and up. That's all you really need, a pack of cards and some kids. So let's see how we can teach them to play bridge. So let's jump into it and look at taking some tricks. So the first thing I like to do is teach them what trick-taking games involve. So I usually deal out 7 cards. I find it easier to start with a lower number of cards than 13. Sometimes it's a bit harder for them to hold a whole hand of 13 cards. 7's a useful place to start with that. So when teaching tricks, the things that they need to learn to work out what a trick is firstly, you want to teach them the order of play. So everyone gets to play a card and it goes in a clockwise direction. The other thing that they want to know is that the highest card wins the trick. So an ace will beat a king, queen will beat a 10, etc. So whoever plays the highest card wins the trick, and they get to play first to the next trick. When playing to a trick, you must follow suit if you can. So here the opponents have played a club. So if I play a club and they play a club, I can't win. We have to also follow suit with a club. So when possible, you have to follow suit if you can. If you can't follow suit, you can throw any card you want, but it can't win the trick. So if they're playing hearts, if I was out of hearts and I put the ace of diamonds on it, I still can't win the trick, because you can only win the trick if you follow suit. So the tips for taking tricks: start with fewer cards. Start with about 7. It's easier for them to grasp the concept. Play goes in a clockwise direction. You must follow suit if you can. The highest card wins, and then you can lead to the next trick. When doing this, I like to give them an aim as well. So tell them their goal is to win as many tricks as possible. So once you've taught them a little bit about playing tricks, the next thing that you'll want to do is teach them about trump suit. So with a trump suit, basically, this is the exception to the rule that if you don't follow suit, you can't win a trick. So with trumps, you still must follow suit when possible, but if you can't follow suit, you can play one of the trump suit, which is the boss suit, where a 2 of the trump suit will beat an ace of a different suit. So here for this, what I like to do is just nominate spades as trumps. Again, deal them out 7 cards and get them to play until they actually understand how a trump suit actually works. So get them to play a few tricks, and then highlight that you still have to follow suit when you can. Play still goes in the same order, but the 2 of a trump suit will beat any card from another one. So 7 cards, get them to play until they understand the trump suit. Once they've got tricks and trumps down, they are a long way to understanding the card play of bridge. This is the main hurdle that they'll need to get over. The next thing that you want to introduce at this stage is a dummy. So for what I like to do for this is just rotate this through, but basically one hand becomes the dummy, and we introduce partnerships at this stage. So 2 people are working together, and the person that's working with the dummy gets to tell the dummy which card to play. So get them to play a few sets of tricks and trumps, still with fewer cards, and get them to discuss which tricks they want their dummy to play, and that they understand that there's a declarer and a dummy. And this is how I like to introduce the card play aspect to them. If they're fine with 7 cards, ramp it up to 13, give them a few goes at that. The next thing that I like to do is introduce bidding. So for this, the way that I like to do this is first teach them about high card points, where an ace is 4, a king is 3, a queen is 2, and a jack is 1. And then the process I get them to do is they each go through and count up their high card points and say how many high card points they have. And to introduce the bidding to them, what I like to do is get the person with the most high card points to become the declarer and their partner the dummy. The dummy will lay open their cards and then they get to choose the trump suit. Make sure that they understand that quality is better than quantity. I often see people go, oh, my ace, king, queen. That's fantastic. I'll choose that suit. But we want to get them to understand that they should be choosing quantity over quality. So person with the most points is the declarer and the other person's the dummy, and get them to play a hand or two of bridge. After they've got that concept, I then like to introduce bidding in sort of using English. So what I like to do is get them to count their high card points again, and the person with the most high card points will be the declarer. And then what I get them to do is them and their partner just say which suit they like. They might go, I like hearts, I like spades, I like clubs, I like clubs. But I give them each sort of 2 turns to say what they say. They can repeat the same suit or they could say a different suit. But basically they have that conversation of which suits they like. And then after two goes of that each, the declarer then just has to nominate which suit they want to be trumps before they see the dummy come down. So basically just using English rather than the coded bidding system to help them understand the idea of how the bidding should actually be operating. So again, they just say which suits they actually like for a couple of times, and then the declarer will have to nominate which suit they're going to go for. I think it's also important that you give them a target, and not only the declaring side, but also the defense. So when the dummy comes down for all of these, what I do is we count the high card points of the declarer and the dummy and work out what point range they're in. If they're in the 20 to 24 point range, I call this a part score later, but tell them that they're targeting 8 tricks and that the defense wants to beat them and that they want to go for 6 tricks. Don't forget that the defense want to have a goal. Sometimes people feel like defending is like missing out on the game, where it's a really important part of the game. So give them a goal of what they're trying to achieve. If the declaring side has 25 to 32 total points between the 2 hands, we go for 10 tricks and the defense goes for 4. If they've got 33 to 36, we go for 12 tricks or slam, and the defense is going for 2 tricks. And if there's 37 or more points, the declaring side is going to try and take all of the tricks, and the defense just needs to try and get 1, so that they have a goal that they're trying to do when they're trying to do this bidding. The next thing I like to introduce is the suit order, and this is just alphabetical from lowest to highest. So clubs is the lowest, then diamonds, then hearts, then spades, and no trumps is the highest ranking. And also the bidding levels go from 1 to 7. And what this actually means is you're bidding 1 over the reserve, or 1 over half the tricks. So if you're bidding at the 1 level, you're going for 1 plus 6, so 7 total tricks. Whereas if you're bidding at the 7 level, we're going for all of them for 13 tricks. So the bids that you have available look like this, with 1 club being the lowest, and then through to 1 no trump, and then the 2 level and across. And these are all the different bids that they can make. They can also make a pass bid. There's double and redouble. I wouldn't worry about teaching them about that. They can learn about that later down the track. But these are the bids that you want to get them to understand. So after we've had them discussing, I like this suit and I like that suit, get them to try and replace that with just bidding a suit. So if they liked clubs, they just bid clubs. And just make sure that they're making legal bids. So if someone bids 1 spade, the other side can't bid 1 diamond. They have to bid 2 diamonds if they want to try and do this. And basically, the next step that I get them to do is I tell them to bid until they find a trump fit, or like a suit that they can agree on. So that they use these bids instead of saying, I like this or I like that. So I get them to say, all right, your side can start the bidding if one of your partnerships has 12 or more points. So if someone can count up to 12 points, their side can start bidding. We can also let the opposing side bid as well if they've got 12 or more points. So basically just get one side to open the bidding, and then that just says, let's keep bidding until we find a fit. and then get the declaring the card play to happen. So that's the process that I like to go through. So initially we just count the high card points, and the person with the most high card points sees the dummy and chooses the trump suit. Then we go through and teach them using English, just say what suits they like for a couple of times. And then we replace that with actual bids and get them bidding in a sort of legal manner of what they can actually do. And this is basically all I really like to teach them about card play and bidding, and let them experiment, let them have fun. We don't want to set them rules that they have to learn. Let them play and enjoy and find out what works and doesn't work, rather than having sort of like solid rules that they have to follow each time. So make sure that even if you see them doing something that you think's like really bad, maybe they trump their partner's winner or something like that, you let them do it. Don't tell them, no, don't do that. Like, you can, if they want guidance, they'll come to you, they'll ask you for it, and you can offer it to them, but don't tell them that they're doing lots of things wrong. Let them have a good time just trying to go for it. I think it's also important to sort of give them scoring. So to approximate bridge scoring, what I like to do is, if they end up in a part score, I tell them if they make a part score, they get 1 point. If they bid to a game contract, and the game contracts are 3 no trumps, 4 hearts or 4 spades, or 5 clubs or 5 diamonds, you can introduce that to them when they're ready. They get 5 points. And if they go for slam, 12, the 6th level, 12 total tricks, they get 10 points, and grand slam, all of the tricks will give you 15. And make sure that the defense has a goal. If you stop the opponents getting what they go for, you get 1 point per under trick that you get. So if they were going for 8 tricks, your goal is to get 6 on the defense, and they'll get you 1 point. But if you get 7, that's 2 points, and all the way up, so that they have a goal as well. And this is just an approximate way of how the bridge scoring actually works. And I think it's a good guidance so that they understand why they're playing and what they're trying to go for. Final thing I like to do is just give them a few general tips about card play. So one of the things that I like to introduce is drawing trumps. And if they have a trump suit, you can tell them that the trump suit's really powerful, and you probably want to stop the opponent's being able to use that power as well. So you get rid of the opponent's trumps. And the way that I like to do this is I count how many I have and how many dummy has, take that away from 13, and that's how many the opposing side has. And then we play trumps until the opponents are out of them. Another thing I like to teach them is leading towards big cards. They might instinctively just cash all their aces and kings, whereas if you can tell them, how about you lead towards your queens and your aces, and tell them to lead towards their big cards, and that's sort of a step towards taking a finesse. Once they've got that sort of general concept, I like to actually teach them what a finesse is. So I'd deal out 8 cards. I'd give someone an ace and a queen, and someone a king, and then like just 5 little cards, and say, well, how can you actually get 2 tricks? How can you make your queen win or not lose to the king? And teach them that if they lead up towards the queen and that the king's in the right spot, they can actually win a trick by doing that. Another thing that I like to teach them is about trumping little cards. So if they've got a trump suit and their partner's out of it, well, you can use that trump suit. So tell them that you can play it, and instead of just discarding something, you might be able to trump it and use those trumps. The final thing I like to teach them is playing on their long suits. So if they've got long suits, they're good to establish. Once the opponent's out of those suits, your 2s and your 3s are going to win. So they're the general concepts that I like to teach them. But yeah, they're my thoughts on how you should teach bridge to kids. Hopefully you got some kids interested in bridge, and if you do, I want to highlight some resources that are quite useful for continuing their growth into the game. So first of all, I think BridgeBase Online is a fantastic website with lots of access to stuff. I want to point out a few things. This is free to sign up, so give it a shot if you haven't. But for this, there's a few different things that you can do. So first of all, I've got Bridge Master here, and this is like a problem-solving game where you just declare, and it'll give you tougher problems. There's also Just Declare, where you can basically play bridge without doing any bidding. There's another website where you can do Mini Bridge, which is much the same as Just Declare. And if you want to do some more, if you scroll down to the bottom, there's Learn the Basics of Bridge. There's Learn Bridge here. This will take you to the ACBL website, which looks like this. And there's lots of resources here that you can check out. But one of the important ones I wanted to highlight is this Learn to Play Bridge interactive software, where it will talk you through the process of learning bridge. Other things that are useful is bridge books. I haven't read any Learn to Play Bridge books recently, but there are lots out there. If you're interested in learning via reading books, give that a shot. I can also strongly recommend checking out your local bridge club. They might have supervised sessions where you can ask questions or lessons. And also, there should be youth clubs in the area. If you call up a bridge club, they can probably direct you to where a youth club is. And youth clubs tend to get lots of great teachers in and get fantastic atmosphere for kids, so give that a shot if you're interested in that. Anyway, thanks all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this talk on how to teach bridge to kids. Hopefully you can get some kids interested in bridge, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.